Which brings us to the second conversation. We touched on the MVP. We will get to the Offensive Rookie of the Year, by the way, guys. We will talk Trey Lance. Don't worry. We'll be getting there. We'll get to Defensive Rookie of the Year, but we got to go to Defensive Player of the Year next. The prominent award for defensive players. Blake, who do you think is going to be the Defensive Player of the Year in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you could just say Aaron Donald every year, and it's pretty, chances are he's going to win, similar to how J.J. Watt was in the early 2010s where, I mean, he won 3, so you could just say his name. But I'm going with a different guy, and I'm going to go with someone who, I guess by his standards, had a down year, and that's Myles Garrett. I think he should lead the league in sacks, especially now that the fact that their secondary is a lot healthier, which is going to help him have more time. They have a couple new linebackers. Then on the defensive line, having some people there or getting some new additions there, so it's not basically him versus the world when they're rushing the passer. Now, I do wish they'd still have they would have added a little more. I don't really think Clowney's the best of the best, but he's better than probably what they had last year, or at least as good as Claiborne. So that's good. But yeah, I really do think that Garrett's going to win. I think he's definitely the best edge in the league. I know people would point to stats with J.J. Watt, and he's definitely really good too. Or T.J. Watt, sorry, yeah. And then Khalil Mack's obviously great, but I think Myles Garrett's just athleticism is just on another level than these guys. And it's pretty much just hopefully the rest of the defense can be healthy. And then I want to say they have a new DC in Joe Woods, correct?
Yes, not new DC. He's been there for 2 years.
Oh, yeah, he's been there. But I guess another year with him can only help, right? And if this team is, I guess, front running, which, they're running the ball down teams' throats and the other teams having to pass to catch up, I mean, that just should lead to more opportunities for Myles Garrett to get to the quarterback. So I'm going with Myles Garrett, my best edge, or who I think is probably the best edge in the league.
Yeah, I actually wanted to preface this by saying that I wanted to go a non-Aaron Donald player. I felt it was important because Aaron Donald's really a cop-out because there's a good chance he's probably going to win the Defensive Player of the Year again, and he's really good. He might be the best. Personally, I didn't watch Lawrence Taylor. I didn't watch Reggie White. He's the best defensive player I've ever seen. He's in the conversation with J.J. Watt, and I think he's better than J.J. Watt. So that's where I'll start this conversation. I didn't want to go with Aaron Donald. Second of all, to touch on Myles Garrett, I'm 100% with you. To me, he's by far the best edge rusher in the NFL. He's really good. He's excellent against the run. He's excellent against the pass. I mean, just to give you an idea of how good this guy is, he had 12 sacks last year. And this guy named Brandon Thorne, he charts sacks, and he charted Myles Garrett's sacks. Guess how many of the 12 were what he considered high-quality sacks? So he charts sacks that, you win because of coverage, you win because another rusher got home and you were able to disengage and touch the quarterback and all of that. Myles Garrett had 12 out of 12 high-quality sacks. That's incredible. That just tells you how special he is. You touched on how weak their defensive line was. One of the most underrated things about the Browns last year was that their front seven was not that great, and they had a suspect secondary because of all those injuries. Now it's gotten a lot better. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, now that he's come back from COVID and all of that, we both loved him before the draft. We think he's going to help out their front seven, or even no matter how they use him. Joe Wood runs kind of a version of the Niners scheme. He came from the Niners, but he runs it with split safety coverage. Yeah, and then for the most part, they're going to be really good. Myles Garrett is going to dominate. I'm higher on Jadeveon Clowney than you. I question his health, but he's better than anybody they've ever had around Myles Garrett for a while. So I think that'll be very helpful. And yeah, for sure, Myles Garrett is going to be in the conversation. I would have picked Myles Garrett, honestly. There's a good chance I was really thinking of picking Myles Garrett, but I wanted to go out on a limb with my Defensive Player of the Year prediction. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I think Myles Garrett's a great choice.
And I think the only issue with Defense Player of the Year is it basically comes down to whoever the best edge rusher is, or just D lineman. Like, you're not really going to see a middle linebacker win it, which is unfortunate. And it's so hard for corners. I know Gilmore won, but even Xavier Howard with 10 interceptions couldn't win it last year. And he had a great season. Like, no matter what Ramsey does, I feel like it'll be difficult for him just because the stats won't be there. And I mean, even like Marlon Humphrey, a dude who forced 8 fumbles, lockdown corner, one of the best. It's hard for them to win. Kind of same goes with safeties.
Yeah, 100%. Like what Ramsey did last year was certainly defensive player of the year quality. Xavier Howard should have been more in that conversation for sure. And even Jair Alexander had
Yeah,
that
he was
type of
great
a
as well.
season as well. And they just don't get in the conversation.